Hello everyone, in this video we're going to learn how to simplify rational expressions. Alright, so simplifying rational expressions is the same thing as simplifying fraction. Alright, so for example, if you have 15 over 30. Alright, now this one can be written as 15 over 2 times 15. Now I just factor the denominator, right? So I realize that the numerator and the denominator have the same common factor, which is 15 right here. So I need to cancel out this one, right? So I have 1 on the top, right? So the answer must be 1 over 2. Right? Now, to simplify rational expression, you do exactly the same thing. You need to factor the numerator and the denominator to find the common factor. Then you cancel out the common factor. Alright? So, let's take a look at the first example. So, for example, if you have s minus 1 over 5s minus 5. Now look at the numerator, I have s minus 1, right? So I don't have any GCF, right? So I just rewrite s minus 1. But look at the denominator, I have the GCF 5, right? So I need to factor 5 out. So when you factor 5 out, which means you need to take each of these terms right here, you divide by 5, right? So I have 5s. And I factor 5 out, which means I divide by 5, right? So 5 and 5 cancel out, I have s left, right? So I put s right here. Now same thing, I have negative 5 right here, and I factor 5 out. So it's going to be negative 1, right? So I put negative 1 right here. Alright. On the top, I put the parentheses right here. So look at the numerator and the denominator, right? I can cancel out this guy and this guy. And then the top should be 1. So the answer is 1 over 5. Alright, this is the answer. Now, the common mistake students usually do. They're gonna cancel out s and s right here. So the top is negative 1. The bottom is 5 minus 5. This is the wrong concept, so don't apply this one. Right, you cannot cancel out the numerator and the denominator if you see addition and subtraction like this. Alright, you only cancel out the numerator and the denominator if you see they are in the factor form, which means the multiplication right here. Alright, now let's take a look at the next example. For example, I need to factor 6s squared minus 2s over 3s minus 1. Alright, now I look at the denominator right here. I don't have any GCF, so I just rewrite 3s minus 1, right? Now the numerator, the GCF of 6 and 2 is 2, right? The GCF of s squared and s is s, right? I have 6s squared. I factor 2s out, which means I divide by 2s, right? Now I need to cancel out. 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. S squared divided by s is going to be s. So I have 3s right here, right? Subtraction, I put subtraction sign right here. Now I have 2s right here. I just factor 2s out, which means I divide by 2s. The answer is 1, so I put 1 right here. Right? So these guys have the same common factor, which is 3s minus 1, 3s minus 1 cancel out. So the answer is 2s, this guy 1 left, over 1, which means 2s. Now let's take a look at the next one. So for example, I need to simplify 3s minus 6 over s squared plus s minus 6. Alright, so I need to factor the numerator and the denominator, right? The numerator, I look at this one, I see that 3 and 6 right here. The GCF is 3, so I factor 3 out. right? This guy has s, this guy doesn't have s, so only GCF is 3, right? So I have 3s, I factor 3 out, which means I divide by 3. The answer is s, right? So I put s right here. Subtract. I have 6, right? I factor 3 out, which means I divide by 3. So 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So I put 2 right here. Alright? Over. Now the bottom right here, this is trinomial. So I need to factor trinomial. Right? So I need to identify a equals 1. B equals 1. C equals -6. Right? So a equals 1. B equals 1. And C equals -6. Right? So I use the S method. I need to put C right here equals -6, right? Because A equals 1, right? So you just put C. If A different from 1, you need to put A times C right here, okay? Now B equals 1, right? Now you need to find two integers, multiply equals -6, add up to 1, which is 3 and -2, right? So the bottom right here, I can write as plus 3 times s minus 2, right? If you don't see any sign right here, which means plus sign. Alright, now I have the new common factor, which is s minus 2. This guy and this guy cancel out. So the answer is 3 over s plus 3. This is the final answer. Now keep in mind, don't cancel out -6 and -6 right here, right? That's wrong concept, right? Don't do that. Now let's move on to the next example. For example, I need to simplify 4 minus s squared over 7s minus 14, right? Now the numerator, I just use difference of 2 squared to factor these guys, right? So I have a squared minus b squared. It's gonna be a minus b times a plus b, right? So the numerator, I just rewrite 4s 2 squared, right? Minus s squared over the bottom right here. 7 and 14, the GCF is 7, right? Factor 7 out. So I have 7s. I factor 7 out, which means I divide by 7, so the answer is s. So I put s right here. Subtract. I have 14, and I factor 7 out. It's gonna be 2 right here, right? So I put 2, right? Now the numerators, a, which means 2, b, which means s. So I apply the formula right here. A minus b, which means 2 minus s, times a plus b, which means 2 plus s, right? Over 7 times s minus 2, right? You look at the numerator, you see that this is 2 minus s, the bottom is s minus 2, right? You cannot cancel out because they're not the same, right? So you need to make them the same, right? In order to make them the same, multiply the numerator and denominator by -1, right? So I multiply this guy by -1, this guy by -1. So I put negative sign right here, right? So I distribute this guy. Alright, so I have -1 times 2 is going to be -2, right? -1 times -s, which means plus s, right? And then this one I just rewrite 2 plus s, right? The bottom right here I have -7 times s minus 2, right? Now the numerator, -2 plus s is the same thing as s minus 2, right? Times 2 plus s over -7 times s minus 2, right? Now we have the common factor, which is s minus 2 right here, so we can cancel them out. So this guy gone. So the numerator I only have 2 plus s. The bottom should be -7, right? So I can put the negative sign in front of the fraction. So the answer is -7 2 plus s over 7. This is my final answer. Now let's move on to the next example. So we have two shapes right here. The first one is the cylinder, and the second one is the square prism. Alright, both have the same volume. Now, question, what is the height of the square prism? Alright, so we know that the volume of the cylinder is calculated as pi times r squared times the height, right? So it's gonna be pi times r, which means a right here, right? The radius of the base, so which means a squared times height, the height right here, right? Times 2a plus 8. Alright, so this is the volume of the cylinder. Now, the volume of the square prisms, V equals length times width times height, right? So it can be 2a times 2a times height, right? So it's gonna be 2 times 2 is gonna be 4. A times a is gonna be a squared times height, right? Now, because the cylinder and the square prism have the same volume, which means this guy and then this guy equals, right? So we have pi a squared times 2a plus 8 equals 4a squared times 8. Right, now a squared and a squared right here cancel out, right? So in order to find h, I need to divide both sides by 4, right? So h equals pi times 2a plus 8 divided by 4, right? Now the numerator I can factor 2 out, right? So it's gonna be 2 pi, and then I have 2a and I factor 2 out. It's gonna be a left. I have h right here. I factor 2 out. It's gonna be 4 left, right? Over 4, right? Now 2 and 4 right here cancel out. So I have pi on the top times a plus 4, and then the bottom I have 2 left. This is the final answer, and this is the height of the square prism. Now let's move on to the next example. So we need to simplify this one. We look at this one right here. We see that 5 and 25 have the same common factor, which is 5. So 5 divided by 5 is going to be 1. 25 divided by 5 is going to be 5, right? Next one, s and s squared have the same common factor, s. So s divided by s is going to be 1. S squared divided by s is going to be s. Y cubed and y squared have the same common factor, y squared, right? So y cubed divided by y squared is going to be y. Y squared divided by y squared is going to be 1. Now, y cubed and y squared have the same common factor, y squared, right? So y cubed divided by y squared is going to be z. Y squared divided by z squared is going to be 1. Now, 12 and 18 have the same common factor, 6, right? So 18 divided by 6, it could be 3. 12 divided by 6, it could be 2, right? Now, you need to multiply this guy up. 1 times y is going to be y, right? This guy, 2 times 1 is going to be 2 times 3 times y is going to be 3z. 5 times s times 1 is going to be 5s. Now you just multiply the numerator and denominator. 3 times y times z over 10s. Alright, let's move on to the next example. Alright, y squared plus 3y plus 2 over 12 divided by y plus 2 over y plus 1. Alright, so we're gonna apply KCF rule, right? So this is K, this is C, and this is F. KCF, which means keep, change, and flip. Now you need to keep the first one, so just rewrite the first one. Y squared plus 3y plus 2 over 12. Now change division to multiplication, so it's going to be multiplication right here. Flip the third one, so y plus 2 over y plus 1 turns out to be y plus 1 over y plus 2. Alright, so the division becomes multiplication. Now it's very simple. You need to factor the numerator, right? So y squared plus 3y plus 2. I use S method. I factor this guy out. Right here I put C, this guy I put B. C equals 2, right? So 2 right here, and B equals 3, right? Now I need to find two integers multiply equal to add up to 3, which is 1 and 2, right? So the numerator right here can be factored as y plus 1 times y plus 2 over 12 multiplied by y plus 1 over y plus 2, right? Now y plus 2 on the numerator divided by y plus 2 on the denominator, right? So this guy cancel out. We have 1 and 1 right here. Now y plus 1 times 1 is going to be y plus 1 over 12 times y plus 1 right here over 1, right? Now you just multiply the numerator and denominator. So it's going to be y plus 1 times y plus 1 is going to be y plus 1 altogether squared, right? Over 12. And this is the answer. Now let's move on to the next example. We need to simplify s squared minus 2 over s minus square root of 2. Alright, so the numerator can be written as s squared minus 2 can be written as square root of 2 altogether squared, right? Any number can be written as a square root altogether squared, like that, right? So if you have 5, it's going to be square root of 5 altogether squared, right? Now the bottom I just rewrite as minus root 2, right? Now numerator you can apply the difference of 2 square formula. So you have a squared minus b squared. It's going to be a minus b times a plus b, right? So in this situation, a which means s, b which means root 2. So you just put a and b into this formula, right? So it can be s minus root 2 times s plus root 2 over s minus root 2, right? Now you can cancel out the numerator and the denominator. So this guy cancel out, right? So this guy 1 right here. So you have 1 times s plus root 2 is going to be s plus root 2, and the denominator has 1 right here. So the final answer is s plus root 2, right? Now let's move on to the next example. So for example, I need to simplify root a plus 2 over a minus 4, right? So look at the denominator. I have a right here, so I can write a as root a altogether square, right? So it's gonna be root a plus 2. I just rewrite. The bottom right here is gonna be root a altogether square. Now 4 can be written as 2 square, right? Now I can apply the difference of 2 square right here. So it's gonna be root a plus 2 over root a plus 2 times root a minus 2, right? So you can put the parentheses right here, right? Now this guy and this guy cancel out. So the top is 1, the bottom is root a minus 2. This is the final answer. Now be careful, you need to write root a minus 2 like this. If you write root a minus 2 like this, that's wrong, right? This guy and this guy, they are different. Alright, let's move on to the next example. So suppose we need to simplify y plus 2 root y plus 1 over y minus 1. Alright, so in order to simplify this one, we need to understand the complete square. So if I have a square plus 2ab plus b square, it's gonna be a plus b altogether square. Alright, so keep that in mind. So I can write y as square root of y square, right? Like this. Plus 2 times root y times 1, right? I can write like this, right? Because it's the same thing. Plus, I can write 1 as 1 square. The denominator y can be written as square root of y altogether square. Minus 1 can be written as 1 square. Alright, now the numerator, I can apply the formula right here. Complete square, right? In this situation, a, which means root y, b, which means 1, right? So I substitute over here, so I have root y plus 1 altogether square over the bottom right here. I can apply the formula right here, difference of 2 square, right? In this situation, a, which means root y, b, which means 1, so I have root y minus 1 times root y plus 1, right? Now, the numerator and the denominator have the common factor, root y plus 1, root y plus 1. So this guy has root y plus 1 left, right? Because root y plus 1 square, right? The bottom is to be root y minus 1 left. And this is the final answer. Alright, now let's move on to the next example. So the numerator right here, I look at this one, I see x squared minus 9, right? So I put the parentheses right here. And this is actually difference of 2 squares, right? So I can write x squared minus 9 as x squared minus 3 squared, right? Minus s plus 3 altogether square over the bottom right here. I just factor this guy out, so I use s method, right? Right here I put c equals 9, b equals 6. Now I need to find two integers multiply equals 9 add up to 6, which is 3 and 3, right? So I have s plus 3 times s plus 3, right? Now the numerator right here, I can use difference of 2 square formula right here. I factor s squared minus 3 squared, turns out to be s minus 3 times s plus 3, right? And this one right here, I just rewrite s plus 3 altogether square over s plus 3 times s plus 3. Now, students usually make mistake. They're gonna cancel out this guy and this guy. That's wrong. That's completely wrong. So you need to get rid of this mistake because this is not the factor form, this is subtraction. So you need to be careful, okay? So now you need to factor this guy one more times. Look at the numerator right here. The first guy right here and the second guy is right here have the same common factor, which is s plus 3. So I factor s plus 3 out. Now, the first one, I factor s plus 3, I have s minus 3 left. So I put s minus 3 right here. Now the second one, I have s plus 3 square. I factor s plus 3 and I have s plus 3 left. Don't forget parentheses because you have the subtraction side right here. Like this. Alright. Denominator, I just write s plus 3 times s plus 3. Now, in this situation, you can cancel out the numerator and denominator. So this guy and this guy cancel out. So the numerator has s minus 3. I just rewrite this one. Now I need to distribute negative 1 into this one right here. So it's going to be negative 1 times s, it's going to be negative s. Negative 1 times 3 is going to be negative 3 over s plus 3 left. Then s and negative s right here, 0, right? Negative 3 minus 3 is going to be negative 6 over s plus 3. This is the final answer. Now let's move on to the next example. So we need to simplify this one. First, we need to factor the numerator and denominator. So the numerator right here, s squared minus 16, can be written as s squared minus 4 squared, right? And then I'm going to apply the formula right here, the difference of two squares. So it can be s minus 4 times s plus 4, right? So I put s minus 4 times s plus 4 over 9 minus s, right? Now the second one right here, I can use s method to factor the numerator and denominator, right? So for the numerator, I put c right here and I put b right here. C equals negative 90, right? And b equals 1, right? Now I need to find two integers multiply equals negative 90 add up to 1, which means 10 and negative 9, right? So the numerator has s plus 10 times s minus 9, right? Over. Now the second one right here, I can use s method again. I put c equals 40 right here. And b equals 14, right? Now I need to find two integers multiply for 40 add up to 14, which is 10 and 4. So this guy has s plus 10 times s plus 4, right? Alright, now I can simplify because they are in the factor form, right? Now s plus 4 cancel out. S plus 10 cancel out. So the numerator has s minus 4 left right here. Times this guy, s minus 9 left right here, right? Over the bottom right here have 9 minus s left, right? Now I look at this one, I see that s minus 9 and 9 minus s, they are opposites. So I need to multiply the numerator and denominator by negative 1, right? So I have s minus 4 times s minus 9 over 9 minus s right here, right? So I multiply by negative 1, right? Now the numerator I just rewrite negative 1, so I put negative side times s minus 4 times s minus 9. Denominator I just distribute negative 1, right? So negative 1 times negative s, which means positive s. Negative 1 times 9, which means negative 9. So this guy turns out to be s minus 9, right? Now I can cancel out this guy and this guy. So the answer is negative of s minus 4. Or you can distribute negative 1. It turns out to be 4 minus s. And this is the answer. And it's your time to stop. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember that if you failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail.
We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine.